Greetings to all our viewers and welcome you to today's episode, which we bring to you every week on this channel. And today we are also going to discuss a new topic that I believe is going to be of help. And I've entitled it Causes of Diseases. Yeah, we thank you once again for the previous view subscriptions and those of you who shared. We continue to ask that keep on watching, subscribing, and then sharing our videos. It's going to be of help to you, to your friends, family, and others, because all we aim at is for people to live healthy, to be able to go about their business, to worship God, to have a good, healthy life with their families. So let us do ourselves good by watching and sharing. And I believe these lessons or these discussions are going to be of tremendous help to our health. I'm Cosmos, biomedical scientist and a public health practitioner. Today, we are looking at causes of diseases. The causes of diseases. If I type this on Google or any website or any search engine, you are going to get several outcomes or several results. But I've categorized them into three main sessions to simplify it for us and to make it more clear. Yeah, so the three sessions or the three categories. The first one I'll look at is genetic conditions or genetically acquired diseases. So I'll go on to look at infectious diseases. Some call it communicable diseases. The third part we shall be looking at is the lifestyle diseases. Also, people call it non-communicable diseases. Some even call it civilization diseases. So there are so many names for that. And I'll really take my time to take us through that portion very well. When we say disease, as the name simply implies, you are being taken out of ease. So you are diseased. So it is termed as any abnormal condition that affects the body of an organism. So when any part of your body is affected and you're not able to perform, it's not able to perform it function very well, then that means you're having a disease. Yes, so they come in several forms. If you watched a previous video, my focus on this channel is to prevent diseases coming into our system or how we can overcome diseases. Yeah, so that is the focus of this very channel. And by God's grace, I believe we are going to have a series of discussions and topics day in, day out. I also entreat that you can bring your suggestions on a topic you want us to look at and we will bring it on board. Your views, suggestions are also welcomed. So without wasting time, we shall be looking at the areas that I said I've sectioned it into three. The first one is the genetically acquired. As the name implies, we acquire it through genes, or we acquire it at birth, or its nature is by nature. We know some of them. The common one we know, most of us even know friends who have them. The sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disease. This is a classic example of genetically acquired disease. You also have the beta thalassemia anemia, beta thalassemia defects. Beta thalassemia defects is also a form of genetically acquired condition. These all affect the blood or the hemoglobin or the red blood cells. In the formation of a fetus, in the formation of a baby, this is acquired through birth or from the parents. So when a person has SS, that person is automatically going to suffer from sickle cell anemia. And there are several effects and the consequences that they go through. But these days, through education like this, people are able to handle it properly. And common genetic conditions we know. Aside that, we also have what we call the lymphoma. It also affects the lymph nodes. These are genetically acquired conditions. Normally, when it happens, it causes probably some inflammations, maybe at your cheek area, or sometimes in your limbs. Most of those conditions do happen at the early stages, or when the person is young, at the tender age, begins to form. And then we see them. Most genetical conditions don't happen when you are old. It normally begins to develop at the early stages of life. So from the first stages, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, begin to see that one. We also have one common one that is called leukemia. Leukemia to affect the blood cells, and it's another form of genetically acquired conditions. So all these ones are acquired through birth or through genetic any genetic disorder that goes on the system affects or bring about these conditions. We have the type 1 diabetes, or formerly called juvenile onset diabetes, but normally currently it's called type 1 diabetes, or insulin dependent diabetes. So these people, they have a lot to battle with in life. It's very unfortunate because every time and then they have to be injected, or they have to take in their insulin injections to be able to augment and support them with the way their glucose level actually maintain the system. So the type 1 diabetes is also a genetically acquired condition that people are actually battling in life. We also have other conditions like cystic fibrosis. Cystic fibrosis normally cause a patient to have a sticky, thick mucus, around the respiratory organs, the digestive organs, even organs like the liver can have cystic fibrosis. When it happens that way, it leads to inflammations, and a whole lot goes in there. But like I said, it is a genetically acquired condition, something that triggered out of the genetic miscommunication or disorder in the genes of the person. We also have some affect the brain or the system that affect our nerves. Okay, so the neurons and the stuff, the spines. We have the Huntington's disease. This one too is a genetically acquired disease. And then we have the cleft palate, or the cleft lip and the palate. There will be a gap in between the mouth, the top of the mouth here, and most of the time it is being repaired through surgery. These are conditions born with, or they are inherent conditions the person was born with. So those ones normally, by God's grace, we have about let's say 10 out of, or 5 to 10 out of 100 cases. They don't normally really occur. Even now, like I said, through research and scientific support and other stuff, it is getting down. At times, we might even have 2 out of 100, 1 out of 100 conditions. Yes, so these are genetically acquired, internally or naturally caused conditions without any human without any human cause. Let me put it that way. Right. The other part, or the second part in this session, is the infectious conditions, or transmissible diseases, or communicable diseases. These ones are normally through microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, viruses, and those ones, protozoans. They are microorganisms, bacteria. People normally say or call it germs. That's a layman's point of view. So those ones, we hardly have control over them. With the viruses currently we are battling with, is still the COVID-19 and its other variants that are always coming. These are all viral conditions. We have the hepatitis B, C, we have the rhino flu, cold. All these ones are viruses. So HIV/AIDS, they're all viruses, and most of them are through coming into contact with the person having it, or with the bacteria, or with the virus, coming into contact with it, either through sex, or we inhale it through our nostrils in the air, or droplets. These are ways we can get it. So we need to be cautious. As we go on, I'll be taking them as a topic, one after the other. We shall look at some of the infectious conditions, how to overcome them. We shall look at some of these genetical conditions. When the person is born with, what can the person do? Lifestyle. What lifestyle can the person adapt to ensure that the impact of those genetic problem does not affect the person as the person goes on, or the person develops? We shall look at them. So I'm only giving you a gist and a brief of them in these sessions. We shall go details and deeper into it with time. And then we also have bacteria. Aside the viruses are one of the microorganisms that are really difficult to handle, because when they enter the system, they form parts of your system. They become part of your cells, and normally handling and fighting them is really difficult. So fighting virus is not easy at all, because they adapt your system, they become part of your blood cells, and they are part of you. So how do you fight part of you? That's how they work. So handling viruses are really difficult, except that you have good immunity. Your antibodies are strong. Your immunity is very powerful to really face them, because taking medications to fight viruses, um, they are not even there. We don't have much medications for viruses. There are few, and those ones don't take them out outrightly, but rather try to control and then bring them down. Yes. The next after viruses are bacterial conditions, or bacteria diseases, or disease infections caused by bacteria. We have syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, tuberculosis, H. pylori that causes ulcer. We have salmonella typhi that causes typhoid. You see, all these ones are bacteria, the common ones we know. And these ones are also some are due to sex, or they are acquired through sex. They are infections that we get them through sex. Some too, when your environment is not neat, when you're drinking water, the food you are taking are contaminated. Okay, start with the H. pylori and then the typhoid. When you don't eat clean food, when you don't take in clean water, you get contamination through that. Then TB, when it comes into contact with somebody who is having it through coughing, and then you inhale the droplet, you can get the TB too. The others are part of the STIs. So through sex, multiple sex partners and stuff, you get them there. So one should be cautious about that. So it's important that we have just an idea of all these various forms through which diseases come into our system. You see, it's very important. When you have an idea, you can become a doctor of your own to be able to control and resist most of these infections and diseases that come into our system. Yeah, so as we move on weekly, I'll be handling some of these conditions, taking them one after the other, and then looking at how we can prevent ourselves. That is the basis of this very channel. Prevention, how we can know the causes so that we can mitigate the effects of the condition, or will not get at all. Right. The weaker ones of the transmissible conditions or communicable conditions are the fungi. In fact, fungi are the weakest among the microorganism family. Viruses are very powerful bacteria, but fungi, sometimes they can even go out of the system when you have a strong immunity. And the common ones we know affect our females are the Candida albicans or Licuria. In my country, Ghana, people will say white. The ladies will call it white. So Licuria, candidiasis, and all those ones, apart from it affecting the vagina, it can also affect areas that have moist conditions. So your mouth, your armpits, your groins, it even affect the fungi. We have one we call the Streptococcus pneumonians. They are all examples of fungi group. In fact, so many of them, foot rots and stuff, they are all part of the fungi group. So these ones are normally also as indication of a weak immune system, because fungi are able to get rid of the system when you have strong and a powerful working immunity. Yes, when your immune system are strong. So when somebody is battling with fungi, it's an indication that a person's immune system is really low, which that person has to work on it. And in our subsequent videos, I'll tackle on how we can really boost the immune system. What is the immune system at all? What affects the immune system? And what can be done to boost the immune system? Okay. And we also have the parasites, or the herments, the protozoans, and the rest. The malaria parasite, the Gingivitis, the E. coli, and those ones. They are all parasitic conditions that affect our intestines. And they also have a whole lot that comes along with when you have them in the system. Yes, so you begin to have diarrhea and stuff, stomach upsets, and it's not easy at all. Now, the lifestyle is another condition that is currently being battled by the whole world, and the World Health Organization have issued a lot of articles about how we can overcome these non-communicable diseases or lifestyle diseases. Some call it civilization diseases. The more we become civilized, or degenerative diseases, they are really disturbing. They can be life-threatening, and people are battling these conditions day in and day out. I'll also take my time to take you through the various forms, the common ones that are really affecting the world. I mean, the lifestyle diseases. We have the high blood pressure, or the heart diseases, or the cardiovascular conditions, including stroke. We have the diabetes, we have the cancers. Okay, there are a lot of them that we shall be looking at. So just do your best to always subscribe, watch, and follow us. We are going to present every week. We are going to bring to you different topics, which I believe is going to be of help. So continue to bring your questions, your suggestions, and then you can also let us know the areas you want us to look at. Galatians 6:7 said, whatever that a man sow, you are going to reap it. Okay, so there is no way you reap or you don't sow. So what are you sowing now? What are the things you are doing now that is going to lead to that is going to bring bad consequences on your health? You should be careful about those things, or you should be watchful about them. When you're able to look at, or when you're able to control the causes or ascertain the causes, then you can prevent or block the effects that is going to affect you in the future. So let's do our best, as the Bible says in Proverbs 4:20, that my son, give attention to my words, incline your ear to my sayings. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart, for they are life for those who find them and health to all their flesh. So make sure the words, the discussion, the presentations, you keep them there to your heart. You listen attentively, and then you try to apply it. You see, there are health principles. When you apply it, you yield a good result. You yield a good result out of this. May the good Lord help us and continue to bless us. Thank you for watching, subscribing, and sharing. We shall meet once again next week. Bye-bye.